And we're back with Legends of Lake Howell. This week, our special guest, or this month, our special guest is none other than the Kohn family. Today I have Coach Steve Kohn and his son, Coach Reggie Kohn. Coaches, what are you doing at this point of time? Where are you coaching?
Well, I'm an assistant coach at Masters Academy, and he's the head coach, so I learn every day.
So how does that work, Coach Kohn, with your dad being your assistant coach?
It's really good. You know, same thing when I was blessed to be here and coaching here, having him on the sideline, having him at practice every day, around the guys with just a different perspective, an experienced perspective from a lot of years of coaching and different situations. So very beneficial to our program at the Master Academy to have not only my father on the sideline coaching, but some of the other staff we have. It just brings a lot to the players. You know, getting to hear different things from different coaches that have been more experienced or less experienced, and being able to just provide so much to them on and off the court. So, you know, for me, it's great. It was great to have him with me coaching here and at Masters where I am now.
So now I'm sure that you are used to it, but let's talk about when you started initially being the head coach, because I remember when you won the state championship, you were actually the head coach and Dad was the assistant at that point in time, correct?
At here, when we were here, I was the head coach for 3 years. I left for 5 months and he was the head coach. So I was his assistant for the state championship. And then back to the head coach the year later.
So how was that initially, having your dad as your assistant coach? Were you a little nervous about making a mistake, not saying the wrong thing, giving the wrong instruction?
Yeah, no, I think that could be I think it's a good question, but the reality and the truth is no. And I think that's, you know, all, you know, on him for being able to coach for 35, 40 years and then be an assistant to me who's new and doesn't know anything, to be able to not step in when he shouldn't and step in when he should, but really, and I don't mean this in a back way, but take a back seat and allow me to do the things I wanted to do and make mistakes, or, you know, and I think he was just really good at providing me knowledge, information when needed, and to not overstep. And I think you get in a lot of situations with a lot of assistant coaches and they don't know when to say things or when not to say things. And I think for our situation, my father's been excellent in that he didn't have anything to prove. He didn't have anything he had to say. There's no hidden agenda to, I've got to say more, I've got to make sure they hear my voice. It's never been that way. And I think we've coached together now for, I don't even know, 13, 14 years, whatever it is. And that's just all credit to him on knowing how to handle it and how to be an assistant coach, which I think a lot of people struggle with. And I think there would be struggle for probably a lot of fathers and sons in that coaching dynamic, but all the credit to him for being able to navigate that in a way that didn't put any pressure on me, on a way that didn't make me feel like I wasn't the head coach. So I think it's been a really easy time.
So, well, yeah, but you know what? One of the things that is forgotten here is, for me, it was the opportunity to have new ideas come blasting in, because all of a sudden I got a guy that played 4 years of college basketball, and I have all his college basketball knowledge and all his up-to-date knowledge, and it was interesting. It was fun for me to go, oh, I never thought about that. Oh, that's a great drill. I never did that drill before. So there's a lot of pluses that I got from it too, a lot of pluses.
So Coach Steve, your kids play basketball. Was that something that they just kind of found a passion on their own, or was there a requirement like you have to play basketball?
Oh, no. It's something that I like to do, so I was always outside shooting, and if they wanted to shoot, I would shoot with them or play with them, and they all tried different sports. I didn't know whatever God was going to give them a gift in, and he gifted them in basketball, because I thought maybe they would play a different sport, but No, and you know, then to be able to come up to the gym as little kids and hang around and shoot, and I know that was always fun too. So no. Whatever sport they were gifted in, and it happened to be basketball.
So, Coach Steve, I'm going to ask you a question that's probably not fair. Coach Reggie, hold your ears. Who was the best athlete? The best, in your opinion, who you thought would be the most gifted athlete? And it's okay if you don't want to answer that question. Or I should say, who you thought had the most potential.
That is interesting because it goes by the years. Because of course Josh was the oldest, so wow, could he shoot the ball? Nobody will shoot like him. And then Kelly came along, and oh, she's really smart. She's a good shooter. And then Reggie came along, so it was kind of like they all had different qualities. They all had different things. The one thing they all had, they were all very smart. And one thing I learned in coaching, that wisdom and intelligence really trumps most things. So no, I don't have a particular athlete, no, but they all were smart. Yeah.
Did you have an opportunity to coach each of them at some level?
Yeah, at some level, yeah. And that was the biggest thrill right there. And I spent more time, people don't even know this, asking other coaches, hey, when you coach your son, what'd you do? Hey, when you coach your son, how did you handle it? Trying to figure out, okay. And they all said the same thing. If they're the best player on the team, there's no problem. If they're the worst player on the team, there's no problem. If they're 5 or 6, you got problems. And I thought to myself, wow, okay. But yeah, no, that was a blessing. That's a blessing, yeah. Well, and we won, and that was fun too.
So as a coach, we have some athletes that are easier to coach. They do exactly what we ask, and then we have some that challenge us a little bit. Did one of your kids, was any one of them were they a challenge to coach that you found a little bit more challenging than the others?
No, because they all had a little bit different qualities, so I bent things around the different qualities that they had. And they always had their ears open, and it was always so positive. And when you have good players, and they were good players, they always make, and so I just twisted things a little bit to make them work out to what would fit their skill and fit their teammates' skills. So no, that was never a problem.
So what inspired you to play a game of basketball, or who inspired you?
It was a school I went to when I was younger in Iowa. That was a small Christian school, and they didn't have football, they didn't have baseball, they had basketball. So I started playing basketball, and I think like any sport, which I've learned, I would make shots when I was younger, but other players couldn't. I thought, why can't they make them? I can make them. I didn't know why I could make them. Well, then the gift was a little bit of, I figured out, oh. So that's kind of led to, basketball is only fun in general if you can make shots. Otherwise, people go on to wrestle or play another sport. So anyway, I was able to make shots, and I didn't know why, but I could, and that made it fun.
Coach Reggie, who inspired you?
I don't know if I was inspired by my dad or my brother just playing. I think I enjoyed it. When I grew up, I played some baseball, I played football, but I think basketball for me was the most enjoyable. And could it be that he was coaching and my brother was playing? Yes, but same thing. I just enjoyed it. I really loved to play. I think with basketball, there's so much more involved in that team sport than there are in others. You know, I talk to my players a lot about, you know, if you're playing football and you're the quarterback, or you're the wide receiver, or whatever position, you have one thing you can do. And in baseball, if you're the shortstop, you're the shortstop. There's nothing else you can play at that. You know, there's nothing else that happens on the field. You're either getting the ball or you're not, or you're up to bat and you're supposed to hit. But in basketball, every time you come down, there's so many things that can happen on every single play. Who's going to shoot it? Who's supposed to pass it? Who's supposed to do what? I think I just enjoyed that. I love that. And, you know, same thing. I was able to excel a little bit at it. And obviously, when you find success in a sport or anything you do, I think if you find success, it's more enjoyable. And so I don't know if there was inspiration or not. There was always some sort of activity going on, some sport going on. And basketball is just kind of what I ended up gravitating towards.
So now that you're a coach, you're on the other side of it. what is the most important thing to you, or what do you convey to your athletes, both of you? What do you think is the most important thing?
I think for me, we talk a lot about toughness. So for athletes, I think it's toughness and the right kind of toughness, not a dirty toughness, not a cheap toughness, but toughness is being able to do the little things that are needed on the court, but it's also to not react to an opponent, to not react to a crowd, having mental toughness, not just physical toughness. I think that right there to me is the most important thing for my athletes or the guys I coach. I just want them to not back down, not to be dirty, not to be cheap, but you're always right there, ready to go, and you have some toughness on you, and mentally as well.
Coach Steve?
Yeah, I agree with every bit of that, and I will follow up with teamwork. The ability to get along with your teammates, the ability not to cuss them out, yell at them, make fun of them, get mad all the time, the ability to fit together, a team. Basketball, like I said, you're not playing, in some of the sports you're kind of separated, but in basketball, those 5 people have to be all clicking. And so I'm really big on teamwork and making a unit, and it's pretty easy as a coach whether you have it or you don't.
So let's switch for a moment and talk about your time at Lake Howell High School. So Coach Steve, you were here for a number of years. How long were you here at Lake Howell High School?
26 years.
26 years? If there was one word that you could use to describe your time at Lake Howell High School, what would that one word be?
I'd say opportunity, because I had the chance to coach so many awesome athletes and so many young men that were so wonderful, and I met so many coaches, and that was just the opportunity. I was given an opportunity here, and had some tough years, had some good years, and that was fun. That was fun. So given this opportunity was wonderful.
So Coach Reggie, you had the opportunity to be here as a student athlete and as a coach as well. So as a student, could you give us one word that to describe your time here at Lake?
Fun. I loved it. People ask me all the time if I could go back and play, where would I go play? And I want to play in high school. I want to play here. I think I was very blessed to go on and play in college and play anywhere you can imagine. Madison Square Garden, played in Hawaii, played in Alaska, ESPN, CBS, playing on all of it. But if I could go back and play again, it would be right here in this gym. I think high school is just different. High school sports are different. You're in class every day with the fans, and I think that's so much more enjoyable as you look back than going to an arena and playing in front of 20,000 people. That's fun in a different way, but there's nothing like the next day you're in math class. So I think it was just fun for me. I loved it.
So speaking of math class, let's talk about your time as a student. Aside from your dad, of course, did you have a favorite teacher in school? Who was your favorite teacher?
I loved Miss Maurer. She was awesome. I loved her. I would say that's who immediately pops in my head is, who I was able to connect with a little bit.
Let's talk about the championship season. So you were the head coach. Did you know that season that it was going to be the season, that we were going to win the state championship? Let's walk back in time and talk about how the season started, when you knew that you were going to win the state championship.
I did not know, because the only way you know things like that is when you've already won one, and I never won one. I've been to the Final Four, but I'd never won one. So until you win one, you don't. It's like, well, what could go wrong? Who could get hurt? Who could get in foul trouble? Who can't make a shot tonight? So you could always think of a lot of things like that. So, no, but as that season developed, it was like almost boring at times, because we had 19 running clock games and just beat everybody so bad, and I couldn't believe that it was. But as all that was going on, none of that mattered, because all I could think of was we got to win the state championship. Didn't matter who we beat in January, we got to win the state championship, or it was going to be a. So there was some pressure to win the state championship that made it very difficult for me, because at times it's like, okay, we won, but will we win the state championship? So it was an interesting year. We were just beating I just sat there. I think I called 19 timeouts in 35 games. Otherwise, I just sat there and watched them play, and they were really good. Yeah.
So, Coach Reggie, as the assistant, there were a number of stellar athletes on that team, but there's only one ball. So how did you manage, the two of you manage those personalities?
I think that's credit to them. I mean, those guys on that team, a lot of them are still friends today. You know, I speak to a lot of them today and get together with a lot of them. They're buddies, they're friends. So it wasn't just a group that was out there playing. It was really friends and friendships that were together, that understood because of their level, because of their understanding for the game. I think they understood that we have to share the basketball, that we have to be a team, you know. And at the same time, they were so good and so talented that the one basketball was enough to go around for all of them.
So in looking at them, that group as like freshmen coming in, that you know that they would be the success that they are today?
That was my first year of coaching. So my first year of coaching, Joey, Nick, and Chandler were all freshmen. So my first year stepping in fresh and new. You knew they were talented, but at the same time, you don't know. I mean, until you get going and until you start playing, you don't know really what you have or what they can do, because as much talent as it takes some luck too throughout the season, as far as injury or just who you're playing and when you're playing, and a lot of things come along with it. But you obviously knew they were talented. You obviously knew that they were really good basketball players that loved to play. So you had a chance to be successful. I don't know if that meant going to the state tournament or being in a state championship game, but you knew that you had a good group that would win games. But I mean, predicting and understanding and knowing how far you would get, I think that's just hard. That's hard. Even their senior year when they won it, it's still hard to know. There's a lot that has to go into winning your last game. But you knew when they were freshmen that they were definitely a talented group.
So Coach Steve, you seem to remember a lot of specific details about that season, specifically that you had 19 games with running clocks. Was there a team that really challenged you?
I don't remember the name, but it was. Well, yeah. And we played in 3 national tournaments, and those were our 3 losses. So we played number 2 ranked team, number 3 ranked team, number 5 ranked team, whatever they were in the nation. And but other than that, I don't remember much more about that. I just said I saw people that were better than us, and they were good.
So Coach Reggie, you have some records here at the school. Is there one that you're just most proud of?
Maybe just the career assists. I don't know. I think I have that. I don't know. But I think passing the basketball, sharing the basketball, it's always been something for me that I've tried to get others involved and get my teammates involved. So that is something that I guess is special to me. But at the same time, you know, I don't know, a record. I don't care too much about them, but you know, if that's still one of them, I can't read, can't see that far. But
so, Coach Steve, this is the last question, and Coach Reggie, of course, there are now 3 generations of Kohns who play basketball very successful. When you have family gatherings, what's the conversation like?
Yeah, and it during the season, things will come up, or somebody will have received a phone call or a note or something like that. But other than that, we don't talk about it. No, I mean, we're so blessed and we're thankful, but we understand that our family and good health and everything trumps all that. So when we get together as family, it's family. And like I said, if something happens to pop up or somebody ran into somebody or whatever, other than that, either that or they're talking behind my back when I'm not around. That could happen. I don't know.
not too much. I would say in season, we talk about it a little bit, but I'm at school with him every day. with my brother when we're around, and maybe a little bit here and there. His boys playing now. My little guy's playing, so there's a lot of people playing in the family. My sister's kids playing, so there's a little bit on basketball, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot.
I do have one final question, and this is for you, Coach Reggie. So I put your dad on the spot earlier, or at least I tried to, and asking him who the best athlete was in the family. And like most dads, self included, you always sidestep it with the politically correct answer. And he did that. So I'm going to ask you, who's the best athlete?
If I'm going to be honest, I've got to say myself, right? Can't say anybody else. Being completely honest, my brother's a good athlete, I was a good athlete. My older sister, Kelly, really worked her tail off to become a good basketball player. And my youngest sister possibly could have been the best athlete. She was very talented. But if I have to pick, I'll just choose myself.
Great answer. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.